Hi folks, this is Vince with Ads Gaming Addiction, and once again we're going to check out 5D chess with multiverse time travel. So in my last two YouTube videos, I did some of the puzzles. I got up to, let's see, combination attacks 4, which I don't think I ever managed to figure out. Then there's this back rank, queen tactics, king tactics, opening tracks. There's a lot more to go. But today I want to do something a little different just to break the mold. I want to see what other modes there are in the verses. If we scroll down, you see there's like a ton of stuff that we could play. CPU, there's like random, miscellaneous, small timeline invasion, knights versus bishops. Look at all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot here. So I'd like to just try out a couple of them just to see what it's like. And we're going to play against the weak trainer because, again, I've played this I want to say for about 2 to 3 hours, but I'm no closer to really figuring it out. Like, I know some of it now, but there's still a lot of concepts that I don't get. And I want to say a quick thank you to all of my YouTube commenters. In my previous videos, they've been leaving lengthy explanations on why things are happening the way they're happening. And I swear I'm trying to read them all. It's just I cover 10, 20 games a week, and I don't get to play this as often as I'd like, and I don't get to read all the comments. So I may be making mistakes that you probably commented on previously, so just FYI. I do appreciate it, though. Okay, so let's try Miscellaneous very small open, just to see what that board looks like. Oh, okay, interesting. Wow. Okay, so I guess it's just a random... Okay, so... Am I going to get checkmated already? Alright, let's just do rook takes rook. Let's see. Well, white having the first move here, it's just kind of unfortunate. Now with my rook, I could travel through time and wipe out this rook. Jeez. Okay. Submit. Check. Okay, well, I guess we have to block with our knight. Or we could take it. We could just take it with the knight. I mean, that just makes more sense, right? Submit. But now we've got two boards that were... Or now we've got three. Okay, so it looks like on this end, he moved his bishop back in time. Interesting. Okay, well... So we're on this board right now, and that's the one we have to look at. Unfortunately, he has a ton of pieces there. How do we stop? I mean, obviously I'm in danger here on the B2 space because, you know, he could check me here, but I've got a knight and a rook protecting that spot. I wonder if there's anything I could do to mess with him in a different timeline. Like, this one here, now, because if I move here, this bishop can take me easily. But I was thinking, like, this knight has a line of sight now with this king. Moving it to a different board costs one... I would often say, when moving through time, it uses up a space, but I guess I should say when it moves to a different board or goes backward in time, it uses up a space. So I was thinking of putting it here and then checking the king in the past, but again, this bishop is here stopping that from happening. So that may not be the right move to make. Let's see, this rook... Like, I don't have a whole lot of options with this, so I may just move my king over one. His bishop on this square here can't get me, which is good. I could move this pawn up one, but that would be... Yeah. There's not a whole lot I can do here. This board is so small. Just to move my... Now, I could move my king out of here. I wonder if that would be beneficial to do. I could move it onto a board that... like, I could move it into the future. Just to sort of hop. And I could put it there. Yeah, I think I might do that. Let's give that a try, because the odds are stacked against me on this now. All right, so now we've done that, and we'll submit our moves. I'm sure I made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so we've got a couple of pieces here. we have to interact with this board and this board. Interesting. Well, this would be checkmate here, wouldn't it? Unless he could take me... Alright, again, I'm not sure about this, but couldn't his bishop... No, because that would move... Couldn't his bishop move through time here and take my piece here? Because he's moving across two boards, so to speak. So all they'd have to do is, like, bishops move, like... In multi-dimensions, it's moving up then to the side. So it would be using one space to move up and then another space to move sideways. But across two boards, I wonder if it could just stay where it is and then take my rook right here. So what if we did something like this? What if we... Oh, we can just queen ourselves there, but then the knight takes me. I could either do rook takes knight and then do the queen, or I could push this up one, and then put the rook here, and then if he does bishop takes knight, assuming he can do that, I could do pawn takes bishop, and then turn that into a queen, and then that would be checkmate. So let's just set ourselves up for checkmate with that one. And this one I'm kind of scared on. I'm thinking we just take as many pieces as possible on this board to prevent him from doing anything nasty to me. Uh-oh, so I'm in check here. Okay, so let's do... I guess we just move up one. Or we just knight takes knight, just... My concern, though, is now this pawn, if he plays king takes, this pawn here is in a position to queen itself. But, at the same time, what I could do... I could knight takes knight. If he plays king takes, I could move this up two spaces to turn it into a queen, so that if he plays pawn forward, I can do queen takes queen. So I think that's still a safe move to do. This one, he's checking me in on another board, so I have to just play. I have to play rook takes on that one probably. I'll do that. And then okay, so on this board, I might as well just again take more pieces. Just to limit what he can do. Alright. I think he's starting to run out of pieces here. Your turn, black pieces. Okay. So this would be checkmate here, right? Well, let's just look at it. So I could do pawn forward here, queen. And he would play king takes knight that way. Let's just see. Well, here's the thing. If I do rook up here, he'd have to take it. He'd have to find a way to take this piece. And can he? The question is, can he? I don't think he can, because I don't think he has any other pieces anywhere else. And this pawn is protecting the rook. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure that's checkmate. He can't move down here, because the knight would be... It's attacking that one spot. This one, let's just push that queen and prevent him from doing anything there. And this board, we could do a... I don't want to stalemate him here by turning this into a queen. Or he could move his pawn up. I mean, that's... I mean, I could turn this into a knight to check him, I suppose. I mean, that's kind of overkill at this point. But... yeah, why don't we just put pressure on him over here so that, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. Whoa! So he's delaying stuff. He moved his king into the past here to take that knight. Is that what he did? And now he's got his own timeline up here. So, you know what? That's okay. I don't think he can do that again and it count, because if he were to time jump again, this would turn into like a white arrow, and those don't count. But I can still come up here and queen myself and still put pressure on him. And I think I don't have to do anything else. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so he delayed the inevitable there, but there's nothing else he can do. On this board, he's checked there. On this board, Wow, okay, wasn't expecting all of those arrows, but yeah. Apparently, my knight is attacking him here. My rook. That's the weird thing about this game. Like, you often make accidents happen that benefit you or screw you over. Okay, so yeah, that wasn't a bad little session there. I kind of like that. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. What's excessive? What does that mean? What are these pieces? We've got this unicorn. All right, let's take a look at the rules. Can we do that from here? I don't think we can. All right, let's not play this version. I think let's take a look at the rules real quick. And I know there's two different pieces. I think it's like unicorn and dragon or something or other. It's here somewhere. Here it is. A unicorn can move any distance along a triagonal, and a dragon can move any distance along a quadrangle. I don't think we're ready for that yet. Hi, Captain. How are you? All right, so we'll do another versus. Let's try. What's global warming? Oh, what is this? What would... Oh, okay. Was that intended as a joke, I guess? Okay, that's funny. Okay, let's do... I'm fair, thank you. Let's do... What's timeline invasion? What in the world? Okay, so on this board, we've got a bunch of pieces, and on this board, so we have to I think we have to, like, bring pieces over here to checkmate them and vice versa. That's weird. Okay. Well, let's start with, some standard movement. We need to get our bishops out. And on this one, we'll just... I'm not exactly sure what the strategies are yet, but we'll do something like that. Alright, so it looks like he moved his pawn up 1 there and his pawn up 2 there. Let's use our... I don't want to do anything that could put my king in harm's way. I want to leave my king pawn in front of my king. So maybe I'll take with that one, but then that would hem my knight in. So I'm going to go ahead and take with my knight. And on this board, again, we'll play, I guess, defensively here. Or we could do something like this. Here's the thing, though, with the king, I know with the rook, if you were to get the rook somehow to the c1 spot, he could, in theory, attack my king across another board, because where it sits, it would travel to other boards on that spot. So I kind of want to leave that pawn there for blocking purposes. So maybe I'll just move this one up 1. Alright, so now he's moving his knight back in time to create a separate timeline. That's fine. I'll just take him. And that's good for me, because now, if he keeps doing that, it's going to create more timelines that won't matter until I make one. So I still have this down here to worry about. This bishop, I could take, oh, I guess that's it. That's right, I'm white this time. Alright, I guess we'll submit. Alright, so now his pawn is up. So I could do one of two things. I could send my knight to the other board here to take this bishop. I don't think I want to do that. What I could do, I gotta wonder, if I move my knight here and attack the king across this board here, but then he would just move here, right? Unless this bishop would... No, I don't think that's the way that works. Okay, so this bishop would have to be like here or here on the B... I can't... The coordinates are so small. B4... It would have to be on... Okay, so just to reiterate what I just said. If I moved my knight to the... What is that? A5 spot, which is... I wish it would stop zooming out when I moved. If I moved my knight to the A5 spot through time, I would think that would check... Or not through time, but just right here. That would check the king across this other board. Because, again, 2 spaces to the right from here, from the A5 spot on the bottom board, 2 spaces to the right, and then across to the other board, attacking the king. But the king would just move down here. So I'm thinking to myself, where do I put a bishop to, or maybe a pawn? I wonder if pawns attack diagonally through time. I don't know how the pawns work yet. I'm still working on that. I need to get my knight out of here. So what I could just play it safe. I kind of want the king to move on to this board, actually. So even if let's try it. I'll check him here. No, his bishop would take me then, right? Because his bishop can move sideways. It would be an even exchange, bishop to bishop. That's a thought. Right, let's undo that. Let's not. Let's just... Wow, this is something else. I could move the knight across to this board. That would be 1 space over and 1 space up. Would he be able to do anything about it? I wish I knew how the pawns moved. I know the pawns take diagonally, but I kind of need to get pieces over here anyway. We can give it a try, and just to see what happens. But that creates a whole... Okay, we're good. We're good. Again, can he do anything about that from another board? I don't know. Well, these pawns here... Let's see how these pawns move through time. So a pawn would move through time on the piece, or on the place that it's sitting on. Got it. That makes sense, because typically pawns move forward 1 or 2 spaces. Moving through, not time, but moving to another board, it would just stay on its spot, sort of like a rook. What about this one? Same thing. Okay. So I think this pawn is safe, or this knight is safe where it is. So in this case, we'll just continue pushing this pawn up. I don't want to move through time or create separate timelines unnecessarily here. Okay. So now we're presented with this fun stuff. His knight is attacking both of these pieces, so I'm a little concerned about that. On this board, we've got... I mean, again, my goal on this board is just to try and clear out as many of these pieces as possible. So maybe we'll do something like that. Try not to create any timelines unnecessarily here. We've got a lot of pieces on this board that I'd like to move on to one of these other boards if I can. Preferably... Do I want to play pawn takes there? Undo. What if I moved a piece from this board onto this board? Could I do that? I could move... This bishop can't do anything as far... I could move it on to... If I move it into the past, however... Ooh, there we go. Yeah, this bishop I don't think can do anything from where it's sitting. I can move over here to the left or right there to a different timeline, but I don't think that's warranted. So... This rook I could move through time there, but I don't think that's warranted either yet. You know what? I kind of want to start moving pieces from this board over to the present of one of these other ones, just to try, because I need to put pieces on boards where he's got kings. These guys aren't really doing much over here. So this bishop, for example, I could move it. I could just move it over here. But I kind of like this diagonal. By doing something... No, not that. Like, by moving my bishop here, I could, in theory, then move it sideways, attacking him across another board. But he could do the same thing to me. So... This is a... You know, I like, the more I figure this game out... the more I like it. Like, this is extremely well done. If you can get past the initial learning curve, and I'm still on that learning curve for the record. Alright, I'm still in trouble here. What if I start taking his pieces? If I I move that through time. If I move it backwards, that'll create a separate branch, which I don't think I'm ready to do. I just need to start getting rid of his pieces on this board. So I'm going to do that. And let's keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. We'll do something like that. And let's just maybe prep pieces on this side for moving over to another board in the future. Let's just get... I could move this one through time, maybe to that. No, that would... You just take it. That's stupid. If I moved this one through time, can't do it because... This is blocking there, so I can't do that. This bishop, I'd like to move up here. No. Alright, let's just move our bishop there in preparation for doing something else later. My question, though, is, if I did that... No, because I took his pawn here. I was worried that maybe this pawn could take it through time, or not through time, but across to the other board. Like this pawn here to this there, but I just took his pawn, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, so in looking at these moves, let's see what he could do. I'm going to lose a pawn more than likely here, or he's going to take my knight. Here, he's just going to exchange probably, and then here... Yeah, alright, so I think I'm relatively safe with this, but let's just see. Okay. So he took my knight. I'm not sure what he did there. He pushed his pawn up. Okay. And then this one, he pushed his pawn down one. Interesting. I kind of like these smaller boards better because I can understand more what's going on. There's no queen either. This is good practice. Yeah. What I'd like to do maybe is move a piece. If I can move a rook over to this board, I can pin him and prevent the knight from doing anything, but my rook is kind of stuck where it is. I can move it here, but that's not going to be very helpful. I'd want to get it onto this spot so then I could move it here. Again, I think what I need to do is just alright, I'm just gonna... You know what, if I move my pawn up one, he might take this pawn here, but then he'll be trapped. Unless he moves this pawn forward. Yeah, I'm just going to have to deal with that. This one, let's just... I like his bishop being trapped here. I'm more inclined to take this center pawn than I am this pawn, because his bishop is not doing anything back here. It's stuck on its own color, unless he, again, decides to move it to a different board and then moves it off of its color by, you know, maybe moving it here to the side, something like that. But the more I think I take these center pawns, the better chance I have of attacking the king in the past. But the other problem, though, is that pawn takes pawn here. My pawns are now all over the place. Typically in chess, you want to maintain a pawn's chain or a pawn structure. By doing a pawn takes pawn here, you know what? Let's maintain a pawn structure. That's fine. I kind of like the position there. And this board, I guess we'll do pawn takes pawn, and then I can maybe move the bishop up to a different board, like maybe this one, in the future. So I'm looking to see if there's anything that he can do to me from here. Maybe like this knight down 2 spaces to take this bishop across this other board. Pawn takes pawn. Yeah, okay, let's just risk it. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so we've got knight. That's weird. Okay, well, I am playing against a weaker trainer, so we'll do pawn takes knight, play it safe. This board here, we could do pawn takes pawn, but again, that leaves my pawn structure all over the place, and I don't think we're ready for that. This bishop could easily take this pawn. I don't like that. But I don't think there's much we can do about it from where we're sitting. I could maybe bring this bishop through time here to protect it, and that would get it over to this board. Or I can actually move it here. I kind of like that. A bishop-pawn combo like this is very strong. So I kind of want to bring the bishop through time, or not through time, but to the other board. And the way I'm doing that, again, bishops move diagonally typically, but in this case it would be moving up and to the left. I'm going to be spending one move to bring it through time, or not through time, but to another board here, and then the rest of its move up one. So I think we're going to do that with it. I like that. And that protects that pawn and has the added bonus of bringing this bishop into this board to start putting pressure on that king. And now we're left with this board. And we're not going to make a move on this board because moving a piece onto a board that you have to move on, that takes up the move as well. So I made two moves, basically. One move here and one move here. Now we're left with this nonsense. I kind of want to move my pawn. Oh, I guess that's it. Okay, so submit. All right. So now what we got going on here. So he moved his bishop here. That's interesting. Well, I think what I'd like to do is get my rook out, but again, I gotta wonder, can he take my rook with another piece by moving, like this bishop, for example? If I do rook takes pawn right now, could he play bishop takes rook right here? Because again, across multiple boards, it would be moving left one and then to another board, taking that rook. So maybe I might want to take it with the pawn instead of the rook. I think that would be the safer move. My pawn structures, I've got a double pawn here. I think, but here's the thing, I don't want to free his rook either. If I do pawn takes pawn, he can play pawn takes pawn, and this rook now is free reign across this row, or this column rather. I think I still want to keep the pawn in front of my king for purposes of blocking in case he can somehow attack my king through time, and I don't know. So I kind of want to take with this one. I'll do that. And then we're left with this stuff here. Now I have no king on this board, so I wonder if I can move my bishop through time and do something else with it onto this board. Can I move any of these pieces? This bishop, I mean, I could play bishop takes bishop here. I think I might have to. Reason being, he could play bishop takes bishop, pawn takes, then rook takes, and then I'm down a pawn. Unless I find... Yeah, so I think taking his pieces here would stop him from attacking me elsewhere. The other option is, can I move this bishop to another board? No, no, no. Alright, yeah, let's just do bishop takes bishop there. And with this board here, maybe pawn up, and then pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. We've got a double pawn, but again, there's no king over here. And his bishop remains trapped here. Okay, I'm going to do that instead. I'm going to try and keep his pieces stuck here, unless he moves them over here. All right, submit moves. Interesting. Okay. So he didn't do much here except move his pawn up. And then over here, I think he took that bishop. Okay. I could do pawn takes pawn here. I'd love to get a queen over here. Look at that. I mean, I could pawn takes pawn here and then get a queen going. On my next move, I think we're going to do something like that. And then I can move that queen over to another board to help me out. I think we have to continue taking as many pieces as possible. So we'll do pawn takes pawn here. I don't like breaking up that chain. He's going to play bishop takes pawn, perhaps. Like this board, I'm getting my butt kicked, but I only have pawns, so unless I move them onto other boards, like I can move that pawn over here, But then pawn takes pawn, then pawn takes, and then he moves up. I gotta stop this pawn somehow. From getting... Yeah, I need to leave that pawn here. So maybe we'll just play it safe. Pawn takes pawn. And on this board, I'll just do pawn takes pawn here. That puts pressure on that rook. And we'll lock that in. Okay. So he did play bishop takes pawn back here. I'm not surprised by that. And, oh, that's attacking my king in the past. That's interesting. So what can I do about it? I could play king takes there to stop that. I may have to. I don't like the fact... Or bishop takes. I mean, I might as well move it on to a different board, right? I mean, this king is fine where it is. So this bishop is attacking this king here. Reason being, it's moving one space... It's using one of its two moves to move, like, I guess, backward in time. How's it doing that? Because this is blocked here. So how is he attacking this king? He's attacking that there. So how is he... Yeah, I'm not sure how that's working. Because, I thought he would move... So maybe sideways... I don't think he can move sideways, then sideways again. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not exactly sure how he's doing that, honestly. I'm looking at it. And... Huh. That's weird. Okay, well... I mean, yeah, I know the bishop could move. It's sort of like the pawn where it stays where it is, but... So I guess it stays there, and then... Yeah, alright. But I'm trying to figure out what board can it move to. Like, where technically the bishop is moving twice. You know, one over, one up, one over, one over, one up, whatever. And I'm trying to figure out how it's consuming those moves. Here, there's a pawn here, right? So how is it getting here and then moving down here? Where is there an empty space? Unless it's moving up here, then down here? Like, is it moving from here to here and then down to here? Is that it? I wish it would take me through the process of where it could move. That's interesting. All right, well, anyway. I bet you that's what's going on. I bet you it's consuming one move to move here up to this top timeline and then down here. But anyway, we have to do something about it. I'm thinking we play bishop here to take it. That didn't do it. Interesting. That created its own timeline down here, but it didn't stop that attack. We have to do something about it. Huh. Alright. So that didn't... There we go. Okay. And so that took that. And now... Yeah, we took it on the wrong board, I think. Okay, so we took care of that bishop here by moving it through time. Or, yeah, across to the other board here. And now we've got this one to worry about. We'll just play pawn takes rook. He'll probably take that right back, but... Alright, looks like we're in okay shape. Alright, so now I'm in check there. Undo. I'm thinking just rook takes. Done. Now we're stuck here. Moving this pawn. Interesting. So the pawn is blocking itself. Okay, so I can't move it. Okay. What's weird is that, alright, so with the pawn, again, I'm not too keen on the pawn yet, but I can take the pawn here, it's consuming a move to move back here, but why can't I take the current pawn on this present? That's just weird. All right. Well, I'd like to. If I moved this bishop to here, I don't think we want to do that. Maybe we move the bishop here to protect these pawns, and that leaves this here. So unfortunately, we're running out of spaces here. No matter where I move, I mean, that's en passant. He could do pawn takes pawn. I'm in trouble. I have nowhere to move, literally. All right, so I'm hoping he doesn't do en passant, but we'll see. What in the world did he... Okay, so he moved his pawn through time there. Wasn't expecting that. En passant, for those of you that don't know, if you move your pawn 2 spaces and it crosses an enemy pawn's line of attack, you can still, the enemy pawn can still take you by moving into that empty space and then remove the pawn. En passant means no passing, or in passing in English. All right, so I'm thinking the queen. Well, here's the thing: the rook could take this queen here if I go through time, right? So I'm a little concerned about where this rook is. It could go right here and take it. So maybe I might want to move this up instead and get the queen over here. Can I move it? No. All right, we'll move it up there. Nothing we can do on this board unless we move a piece from this board over to this board. But I'm trying to stop his pawns from... Unless I move this pawn out of danger and maybe move it onto this board. And that would effectively stop... Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. How are we doing? Okay, so again, I'm not too worried with this rook here. This bishop is protecting both pawns. I like that. The nice thing about him moving his rook now is that I should be able to now move my pawn up and get a queen, and now he won't be able to move through time and take it, in theory. So his bishop might have been able to do that. I'm not sure. But all right, well, let's get our queen there. And unless his bishop can do it, can his bishop stay where it is and take that? Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm just curious to see if he could. All right, and then here, again, I don't have a whole lot of options because no matter where I move, unless I move a pawn from here back down to this board, but I don't think I can do that. Okay. Well, let's just move this pawn up 1. I threaten a fork between his king and bishop, and then this one we'll have to move this pawn up. Or if we move our bishop, moving this up again, that creates an en passant thing. You know, I kind of have to do it. I don't have a choice. I just have to hope he doesn't take the pawn. And he moved his rook over there. I don't care. I'm trying to stall on this board long enough to do other things on these other boards. Okay. So my queen is now ready to go. We need to start checking him across as many boards as possible. So I'm thinking we move... No, because his bishop could take that, right? By moving down. This is tough. What if I moved my rook here, checked him through that, right? Wouldn't that work? Could he play bishop then, takes that rook, though, and then queen takes, then the king takes? Like, I have so many questions. Even if that's the case, I still have a pawn here that I could move up and then check him again if I had to. I'm just curious to see how that would work. By moving my queen here, his bishop doesn't move through time to... he couldn't move his bishop through time to take it, and it's being protected by my pawn. So I'm thinking this is a relatively safe move to do. So let's go ahead and do that. And that leaves this board here. I'm tempted to, again, apply pressure. Or if I move up here, I could maybe take his bishop, assuming he doesn't move that through to another board or through time. Like, checking the king here might prevent him from doing anything else. You know, he'd have to move it. He'd have to spend a move moving his king to the side. So I'm tempted to do that. Because he could always, you know, let's just do that. We'll apply pressure there. Oh, that's checkmate. So he can't move back here? Let's see why he can't. Why couldn't he move his king back here? Is there something stopping that? What is attacking that spot? Oh, so maybe it's not this king specifically, but this king here. So wait, I'm attacking this spot with the queen through time. I'm also attacking... So if he were to move to the side... Okay, so as the queen, I'm attacking every space around it 1. Because it's 1 movement... Okay. I think I understand. Not entirely. But it looks like this queen is attacking... if we take a look at where the green markers are... That queen is attacking all of those spaces around it by 1 to that other board. So there's no way for the king to do anything about it here. So again, I went into this expecting just to put the pressure on the king here, but I forgot that the queen would also apply pressure here. That's crazy. Well, there you go. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. Apparently, I'm also attacking it there as well. Cool. Oh, thanks for the follow, Anthony. Appreciate it. All right, so again, it's a good oops, in a way, you know? All right, let's get our screenshot. Nice. Okay. Finish game. I think we have time for one more. That timeline invasion, though, that kind of forces you to think about the other boards and what to do about it. I kind of like that. Small open... Very small. How about just a regular miscellaneous? Or just a regular standard one? How about that? Alright. Come on, black again. Okay. Alright. Good old knight to rook 3. That's wonderful. We'll play... I would typically play pawn to king 4, pawn to queen 4, normal chess, but I kind of want to keep my king protected as much as possible. Maybe we'll do a queen 4 opening. Interesting. All right. Well, how about maybe we'll do that, or we can always just move our knight out and protect it. 4 knights defense kind of thing. Oh, right then. He's starting early. Look at that. He's okay. Was not expecting that. Okay. Well, weird. Well, let's. Maybe we'll keep the pawn in front of our king safe and protecting our king. We'll move this up and move our bishop out along the diagonal here. We'll just apply pressure. Could he move that? Anything he moves through time, if he creates any other crazy timeline jumps, they will not matter. So, I'll just do that. Did I just checkmate myself? Oh, I did. Oh, I can do something about that, can I? Oh no, bishop takes. What am I thinking? Yeah, undo. Not sure why he did that. Again, this is on a weak trainer, so... Alright, submit moves. The nice thing about... I don't have to play the other boards until the present catches up. Alright, so now we have to move both boards. Let's just play defensively. We'll get our knights out there. And we'll get our knight out there. Submit. Let's get our bishop out there. And I kind of want to play queen 4 there. Alright, he's moving his queen out. Let's do something like that. Put pressure on it. And on this board, we'll just do something like that. Get this bishop out along this diagonal there. Alright. Oh, he took that. That's kind of... Again, this is the weak trainer, so he's probably going to make some pretty crappy moves. Alright. That's kind of... He could just move pawn forward, but... We'll see what he does. Alright, he took it with his queen. Fine. I like that when you hover over a piece, it tells you where the piece could move on the other board. Like you can, if I hover over my bishop, for example, you'll see that there's 4 green spaces up there. The knight, you can see it moves 2 spaces over like that. Okay. Well, I kind of want to get my queen out and wreak havoc. Or I could castle. Or I could do that. No. Knight's there. Again, I'm tempted to play more defensively here. Maybe the pawn up there. No, because then pawn down, the knight has nowhere to retreat to, so we'll undo that move. Let's just castle. And on this board, we will... I wouldn't mind doing something like pawn to king bishop 3 and then forward, but again, this king is a little exposed where it is. I kind of want to castle queen side. So maybe we will move up our queen there. Alright, so my pawn structure is going to be a little crazy, but yeah, free pawn is a free pawn. I'll take it, and then we'll do our pawn takes knight there. So far, so good. Alright, he moved his knight there. It's kind of stuck there, so I kind of want to move my bishop there to put pressure on it. No matter where he moves next, unless he moves it through time or whatever. And then on this board... let's get our king. No. I guess we'll take that. Check. Alright, he moved out of the way. I have to wonder, could he have used his bishop here to take my knight here? Maybe. Because again, it would be 1 space down and then another space to move to another board. So I wonder if he could have done that. But then again, that would remove another piece from this board where I've got this queen very menacing like. I guess we'll do bishop takes knight. Or you know what? You know what? Let's take the bishop first. Why not? I mean, there's still nothing he could do about it. And then this board here, we'll take the rook. It's strange. It's like, in this version of chess, certain pieces are obviously more powerful than others. Like, the ability for a knight or a bishop to jump different spaces across different boards or through time, whatever. Like, the rook is kind of stationary. It's not very powerful in the very beginning of the game because it's blocking itself. You have to move it out before it can actually do anything. So it's like the rook, I feel, is like the weakest of all the pieces. But, you know. Alright, let's take that bishop out of there. And his king is there. I gotta wonder, can we start attacking this king through time somehow, some way? Yeah, let's get prepared here to push this e-file. All right, well, that's kind of silly. I'll push that up one. All right, obviously that's that. And then this one. All right, it moved out of the way. Let's just clear that e-file. That's pretty strong. What? Did it just... Oh, okay, so it used its own rook to take that pawn. Okay, I did not see that. So we did pawn takes. We still won the exchange, a pawn for a rook. But still, like, I didn't see that. This rook from this board just stayed where it was, moved through the other board, and took it. Okay, that's fine. So now this board does not have a rook in this corner. Big deal. Okay, so let's just see, though. I wish I could see where the enemy could move. You know what I mean? Like, if I put my queen here, could he, like, take it with this pawn here? I do not know how pawns take through time. I'd be very curious. Let's just continue putting pressure there. And let's grab that file there. Alright, pawn up. I'm willing to sacrifice my knight for this. I could play knight takes pawn, pawn takes, then queen takes, and that puts it into a position to attack the king here. I kind of like that. I mean, I'm sacrificing a knight to do it, but that opens up a lot of stuff for me. So we'll make that sacrifice. And on this board, all right, if I played queen up here to queen 3 or to d3, algebraic, that would check the king here. Is there anything that could take me on another board? I don't think so. Now, my question is, will that check the king in the past as well? I'm sure I could just move out of the way. Or not. Is that what happened? I checked the king in the past and there's nothing he can do about it. So, let's just see. So I'm just guessing. When I click this red arrow, this queen is going to be attacking the king here. And because there's nothing he can do to take the queen here, it's checkmate. Even though he could move out of the way on this board, this queen is still attacked. Well, no, because the queen can't move that many spaces across. All right, let me see what it does say. Oh, it's attack. Wow, okay, so I was right, but just on the wrong board. Okay, so the king was here. Okay, so let's see how the queen jumps here. So where it's sitting on the d3 space, it would move e4 here, then f5. Oh, alright, so we're on the brown spaces. Now, what about this pawn, though? Isn't this pawn blocking it? Let's undo. Alright, so, okay, so this board, okay, so we're here, it would be d4. Okay, so, yep, and then, yeah, but what about this space? There's a pawn there. Unless it's using this space from the alternate timeline as a go-to, and then forward again? Unless I'm looking at it wrong. there. Wish the boards wouldn't highlight like that. So D4, and then here, right? And then here. Okay, so I'm trying to see what boards that would affect. That's the white board. So I have to go backward using the black board. So from here, it would be here, third one from the right. And then, okay, but even if I did that, this pawn is blocking that. So how is it doing that? Unless it moved here on the board above, and then from that board back down here again. Wait, it's attacking. Okay. Wait a minute. How did it? Huh. Okay. Oh, the bishop. The bishop. I'm looking at the wrong piece. Okay. So the queen is checking it here. Okay, so the bishop is the one checkmating the king. What the heck? So that is okay. So the bishop is here. It would move up one there, then up one there, and then up one again here. Okay, that makes sense. I'm attacking the king in the past. But the bishop's always been here. So it just so happened that... So the bishop... I haven't moved the bishop in quite a while. So it just so happened that because the boards progressed over the course of the game, it reached a point where the bishop could attack it through time, even though it didn't happen yet. That is so crazy. Like, okay, in this position, the bishop would be able to attack the king 3 boards ahead. So the game just had to progress to a point where it was possible for it to do so. The bishop had to stay here to continue doing that. That is crazy. That wow. So it wasn't the queen at all. It was the fact that the bishop... That's like a chicken and the egg kind of deal. That is really cool. I didn't even see that. But the fact that it happened, wow, that's something else. All right, that took some doing. All right, folks. Well, I'm gonna take some Excedrin migraine, and maybe we'll play again in the near future or in the past. If you guys haven't already subscribed to me on Twitch and YouTube, that way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.